Welcome to Pursuing Polaris, NorthStar SailGP Team podcast. I'm your host, Tom Ramshaw. Very special guest today, Jen Hall, Director of Marketing, Purpose.
And
what are all your titles? You wear many hats here on the team.
I don't even really think I have a title, but I think it's officially Director of Marketing.
Okay.
But I also look after Purpose, so what we do in the Impact League, and I'm also in charge of the planning for the Halifax event.
Yeah, very busy. Jen, you are the longest standing member of this SailGP team. You were one of the first hires and you're still here, still crushing it.
Yeah, it's true. I've been here since 2022, I think. And so we're rolling into the end of our third season together. It's been an epic ride, a lot of highs, a lot of lows, but we're in a good place.
Let's just start. Obviously, we look into everyone's background on the team. You're a behind-the-scenes person, often not in front of the camera, but you got to be ready to talk about your story. Let's go. I want to hear how you got into the sailing scene. You grew up in Nova Scotia. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's true. I grew up in Nova Scotia. I'm from Halifax, and I started sailing there when I was probably about 8 or 9 years old, and sailing FJs way back when. But I've been working in professional sailing for about 2 decades. I've done lots of different projects, from working on the America's Cup campaign with Artemis, the Volvo Ocean Race with Pirates of the Caribbean, Paul Kayard, and also working with Swan and Ferragamo over the years, and Prada and Luna Rossa in the America's Cup. So I've done the full range of things, but I have to say this team is one of my favorites. It's amazing.
Oh, that's good to hear. So being a Canadian, when you heard that Canada was going to get a SailGP team, what was your process for getting the job? And you must have been excited.
Well, yeah, to be honest, I was super excited, and I didn't expect to get the job. I literally read about it in the Globe and Mail, and I thought, this is so amazing. I've been working in projects around the world. Obviously, there was no professional sailing team in Canada before. I read about it in the Globe, and I thought, that's so amazing. How can I help? And I literally wrote an email to the founders, and said I'd be happy to volunteer or help out in some way, because I thought it was such an important moment for Canada in sailing. And the next thing I know, I have a job, and I'm still here three years later. How'd that happen?
I know, it's been a wild ride from owners, no owners, new owners. Feels like it's a real thing now. At a certain points, we were skating on thin ice with this team, but it's been fun. So you've been, I thought you were like the PR as well.
Yeah, no,
Director
definitely.
of Marketing.
Director of Marketing. Marketing is that's sort of the basket, I think, that can contain most anything. It can be everything from events to PR, crisis communications.
Producer of Pursuing Polaris.
Producer of Pursuing Polaris. I mean, I think I might even come up with the name Pursuing Polaris. So you never know.
A lot of creative ideas.
Exactly. But I think the other thing on that, though, Tom, is that marketing and PR and everything has changed so much. In the 20 years I've been in the industry, it's completely different how people are consuming media. Obviously, we have the French Connection and Hubert and Hugo, who are generating all this amazing digital content for social media. And that's kind of usurped, I think, traditional media as we know it. Yeah.
It's been, I think that's how most people find out about SailGP now. It's just through the clips and all the media. Content being put out by those guys who do a great job.
Yeah.
You oversee it and make sure they're not pushing the boundaries too much. I understand.
Well, we worked together. We've had some moments where we had to maybe look, and is this appropriate? Is it really on message with what we're doing? But I think as a team, we really strive to put out a very authentic content and talk about you characters, and I think was also one of the goals of the podcast. Let's really bring out the characters that make this team, because there's 6 people on the boat, but there's 21 of us, I think, or about 21 of us on a good day. And then we've also had a whole cast of other people that help us and come along with us, whether that's interns or otherwise. So there's a lot of people behind the team and behind the scenes.
So I want to ask you about the event in Halifax, being that, you say this is one of your favorite jobs in the sailing industry you've ever had.
It is.
And then you got to bring it back to your hometown. How is that? What went into that project, and how did it feel pulling it off for you?
Well, it was pretty amazing. I have to say, it was really, really special. I remember, when it all wrapped up and just having this huge sense of relief, but also just so proud for everyone who was involved. And I mean, we broke pretty much every record in SailGP. We sold out the tickets in 12 minutes. We had over 50,000 people watching the racing, which was a huge number at the time. But I think for Canada, it really put us on the world stage, and even for the team, it gave us a place to really showcase what the team had been through and be out there. We had Justine Beaver driving the boat. I mean, I think there were some epic moments. Fun. And also how Halifax came together, and being from Halifax and seeing so many people come forward to watch, but also to get involved as volunteers. I think we had over 200 volunteers. It was incredible compared to all the events we go to. I think in terms of how the city and the individuals and people stepped up was second to none. I mean, you must have felt that even as a sailor.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the most impressive part was this circuit follows the summer basically around the world, and the Halifax slot was a bit early in the Canadian summer, so it was cold, it was rainy, and no one skipped out on going to watch, as far as I could tell. The shore was rammed with people packed in rain jackets, umbrellas. I know my family was there, and they were pretty cold, but they got there early. They stood up on a picnic table to be able to see, and it was just impressive how committed the fans were to watching.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And now we're going back next June, so it's going to be amazing. It'll be a little bit different, I think. Well, obviously we'll have 13 teams. Yeah, we'll be on the start line. We're going to have I think it's about 11,000 tickets that we're going to have available for sale.
And how many were in the first one?
I think we're just under 2,000, so it wasn't. It's
wow,
it's significantly
it's a huge
more
increase. Yeah,
significantly more. I mean, and one of the amazing things about Halifax is there's a lot of places where you can watch from. Anyway, for free, but it'll be a great grandstand right there on the waterfront. So all those people running around with Team Ramshaw in the back are going to have great seats.
I hope so. I'll get a little fan club sometimes.
Absolutely.
So what like when you say you're a part of the organization of the Halifax team, you're also working directly with our team. What do you do? What goes into the preparation for an individual event like the Halifax event?
Well, there's an awful lot that goes into it in Halifax in particular, because we have a lot of stakeholders and the support we have from the province and we have from the city and the various different entities in Sail Nova Scotia. So there's a lot of work in coordinating all those stakeholders and what their objectives are and the support that we get there. But my focus is really on the team and what are we going to do and what's our presence going to be in Halifax. If we're going to do some more of that hockey like we did. Were you involved in hockey?
Yeah, I played a little hockey. I got to shoot on Billy.
I love it. Also, what we'll do locally for an impact project, we're planning to do foil for all again. So a couple of days demo on the waterfront where people can actually try foiling. So lots of different aspects of getting ready for Halifax and just making sure that as a team, it really is the standout event for us for the year.
I think by the SailGP staff, it was voted the favorite event. Am I right about that? It was for the previous season, and then they didn't let us go back there this year, but we're back next year.
Yeah, I think that was one of the lows, wasn't it? Well, it wasn't so much maybe not being able to go back to Halifax, but it was not being able to, the uncertainty right after Halifax. We didn't know if we'd have a team the following year, so of course we couldn't have an event in Canada.
And then between the seasons, season 4 and season 5, all the speculators were like, there's no Canadian event, we must be the team getting eliminated.
Absolutely.
And how did you feel during that whole period of uncertainty between seasons?
Well, it was tough, but we had to really believe, and we didn't have a lot of information because it was a league-led process, so we didn't have a lot of intel on what was happening behind the scenes. So we just had to hope and keep together. I think that was a big thing for Phil Robertson, even, was keeping us all together and making sure that people didn't scatter and join other teams. Yeah, and that I think made a real difference.
Yeah, it was a wild time of uncertainty really through that whole season.
Oh yeah.
And but yeah, we're still here.
We're resilient.
Yeah, I really love the Halifax event because I find in SailGP when you go to a really big city like LA, they have, you know, a lot of things going on in LA. It's a very famous city, so not everyone, all the locals come out. Whereas you go to a city of, you know, under 500,000 people like Halifax or here in Cadiz, it's the thing to do that weekend.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So you really get everyone, and you really see that Canadian pride in Halifax. So it's very exciting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go back.
It's going to be great. Tickets on sale mid-November. Mark your calendars.
I'm going to try and spend the whole month there, so you got to help me out with that.
I love that.
As a local. So
bring the family.
So another part of our team and that you oversee is the development of younger sailors and, you know, helping out with the grassroots of the sailing community in Canada. Can you tell us more about what's going on there and what the future looks like?
Well, you remember back in season 3, we had on the wing, we had "We Can Inspire," and that was something we came out. That was our sort of our motto.
Did you come up with that one as well?
I sure did.
Oh yeah.
If only I'd come up with like "Just Do It," and I probably wouldn't be here. But yes, "We Can Inspire." We came up with that, and I think we've really lived that in the last 3 seasons. We created We Can Foil, which, as you know, is a nonprofit entity, grassroots program in Canada that's getting young Canadians foiling. We now have 12 hubs across the country. Thousands of people from all ages actually have been able to try foiling. And
both sailors and non-sailors.
Sailors and non-sailors, yeah.
It's crazy. It's awesome.
So it's full on grassroots, but there's a bit of a pathway program to getting on the F50, and I think gradually after 3 years we're starting to see talent come through there, like young people like Andrew Chisholm, Henry Sims, who've joined us on our internship program. I think that's important mentioning. That's something we started right out in season 3, having an intern, a Canadian intern at every single event pretty much, and we've also farmed out interns to other teams. After SailGP Inspire sort of stopped doing that program, we've carried it on, and I think we really have made a difference in giving young Canadians a chance to sort of touch the world of professional sailing. Yeah,
that internship is such a valuable experience growing up sailing in Canada. You just do, you know, you sail your dinghy, Olympic sailing, and you don't see what's in the sailing industry. And for them to come here and see the difference of a volunteer run local regatta in Canada versus something professional with hundreds of people working on the scene, literally a traveling circus under a tent here of like people who know how to build the tent to hydraulics to all the stuff that goes into putting us on the race course.
Oh, absolutely.
For them to see that.
I did the math at our last event, and I think we've had over 30 interns join us over the last 3 years. Exactly 50% of them have been female.
Yeah.
And at least 4, if not 5 of them have actually gotten jobs, even with SailGP since then, which is amazing. There was Thomas, who just passed
I was just talking to
Fionn, who's our rib driver. I mean, it's pretty amazing if you think about it.
Yeah.
Without the team, that would have never happened.
Yeah, I always encourage young sailors to apply for it. Come. It's just like such a cool experience, and it's fun. The team's good vibe, and you get to be a part of it. So,
and I think the other really important part, Tom, is that there's 6 people who sail the boat, but there's 600 that make it all happen behind the scenes. You know, so there's lots of different jobs, from social media, videographer, rib driver, hydraulics, electricians. I mean, there's so many different jobs, and it's not just, of course, it's nice to have a passion and have skill in sailing, but there's something, there's a lot of different opportunity, and it is professional sport, which is a pretty exciting thing. And if you're Canadian and you can represent your home country, how it doesn't get better? Yeah,
it's exciting times in Canada. I think I say that on every podcast. I mean, I that's one thing, not living in Canada full time, I miss, is being part of the local Canadian sailing scene. But when I am there, I always visit my home yacht club at Stony and talk to the kids, and it's just fun to see the passion growing around sailing. I think when I was a kid, you just get so many kids who just don't think it's that exciting because you're going in a really slow boat. But now with foiling, you see kind of this higher adrenaline.
It's fast. It's fun.
Fast, more extreme sport, you could categorize it as. And it's more accessible. We have the waft, the wing foil, and much more that Canada hasn't tapped into quite yet. But it's a big world of sailing out there.
Well, we did in August, we did for the last focus area, which we won, climate action, we did some eelgrass planting in Nova Scotia. And it was amazing. Tim came and we had some kids from Weekend Foil. Henry Sims was there, and they did some foiling, or tried to do a little bit of wing foiling. There wasn't a lot of wind, but it was just so impressive to see how the little kids, so we had 40 kids from a local yacht club, and they were so inspired by Tim and his stories, just being there. This is real life. These are the guys that I'm going to see on TV racing in Sassnitz this weekend. They're here, and you really, there is something that maybe didn't exist before.
One thing I don't think we've talked much on this podcast about is the actual impact league that the league runs for the teams to participate in. Can you tell us more about the impact league and how it works and how we're leading?
Yes,
very important. And I guess all the things we've just been talking about is what we're accomplishing through that, but tell us more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we obviously race on the water, but we have the Podium for the Planet, which is the Impact League, and that basically is our opportunity to really do great things that really do make an impact, I think. For sure, as a team, we've taken it to heart really from the very beginning. I think we're third in season 3. Last season maybe didn't fare as well, maybe fourth, but this season we're actually in first. We're leading after the 3 focus areas, so we have 3 focus areas, and the final focus area, we're only ahead by 1 point, so we have a lot of work to do, but is about breaking boundaries, and that's something that SailGP's been committed to since the very beginning. And breaking boundaries means creating some gender equity in our sport, which is really super important, to getting more people involved with sailing. I mean, we might as well tap into all the amazing women that are out there. But SailGP's really moving the needle with the Women's Pathway program, obviously. So giving a chance to women to actually get on the boat. As you know, we always have one female on board, but trying to develop more female talent, bring them into all the different roles across SailGP. So that as a team, that's something we really believe in, and we've been working towards as well through our internship program. And then following on from that, we went into the NorthStar Mentor program, which thank you for taking part in that. We had 17 mentees, so pretty much everyone on the team mentored a young Canadian female over the last couple of months. We've had even a chance for 2 or 3 of them, I think, have joined us on site to learn from their mentees. And we have one here now in Cadiz with Phoebe Sierra. She's CJ's mentee. So I think the feedback we've had on that is absolutely amazing. So much so that our CEO, Phil, decided, actually, there is some real incredible talent out there. Can we offer 2 more positions to females, to female athletes for next season? So we are recruiting for S6F, the season 6 female position. So we just went through yesterday with Joe all the candidates. I mean, we have an incredible, it's going to be actually very hard to select those candidates because we actually have a really amazing pool of talent, which we didn't have three years ago in Canada.
I heard pretty high numbers for the number of applications.
And
the short list isn't so short.
The short list is not so short. And then you think, well, wow, that's really impressive. How can they not be on the short list? So it's going to be a tough decision for us, but I think it bodes well in general for how much that talent is developing and where these individuals are going to find opportunities. And it was even amazing how many of them have degrees in mechanical engineering. I mean, it's impressive. Some really impressive
true.
young females coming out of Canada right now.
Canada always impressed me with, really all sports, because the Olympics that I did, I remember the medal table. It was like 80+% were female medals at the Olympics. So it's just definitely a strength in Canada. So leaning on that is, I think, a great idea. And
I think even in foiling, where you don't need brute strength to foil, we're going to see more women coming up through those ranks as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's exciting times. I know our best results in the last few years in international sailing comes from female teams, and
absolutely,
there's definitely, you can't ignore that.
No, I think, and now it's just getting, I think we need more breadth and more depth in what we're doing in terms of getting women into sailing. And it's we're doing one thing here as NorthStar, but it's about the local clubs at home, opening up the doors, making sure that there are opportunities for young women and girls, and even just being very much more inclusive in our communities to get more people out on the water. And that's something that Weekend Foil has been doing. So if you're listening and you haven't had a chance, look up one of those 12 Weekend Foil hubs and get out and try it.
Yeah, we're definitely trying to kill the old sailing reputation of the old boys club. So
for sure. And
I think SailGP is doing a great job of that, and especially our team.
Yeah.
To push that forward. Yeah. What else in the what got us into the lead in the Impact League? Just out of curiosity.
Well, I think it's like on the race course. If you're really consistent, you're going to stay up in the top 5. So we've been lucky.
What are some other projects?
Well, we had the eelgrass planting was the last one. And then we had...
NorthStar Locker, did that count?
Sorry. NorthStar Locker. That was the first one, which is amazing and still running. That's basically the upcycling of all our team gear that we've been doing. And then we had Foil for All in May, which was an incredible initiative in Halifax, where we had about 100 people get a chance over 3 days to try foiling again out in Halifax, which I say again because we did it in June 2024 as well. And the conditions were exactly the same this year. It was freezing cold, foggy, rainy, but people came out and drove to try it.
For the Foil for All, you have people literally walking the waterfront.
Yeah.
And they're like, I can try that?
I could try
and
that.
And it's free, and they show up, and they get to give it a go.
Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
And even during the SailGP event, people came back and said, oh, I want to come back and watch. Or I remember this one couple like, well, we want to volunteer. How do I get involved? Or they signed up we actually saw an uptick in registrations in local sailing programs from the SailGP event and the Foil for All. So it's a great initiative.
Nice. Let's step back a bit. Obviously SailGP is exciting, but let's hear more about how you went from growing up sailing as a kid, to working for multiple decades in the sailing industry, and what that step looked like.
Whew. Well, I went to university in Canada, but I had a chance to go to San Diego State University when I was in my third year university, and that's where I signed up for the sailing team. And then I stayed on that summer. It was the summer just before the America's Cup. And so I hadn't really known much about the big world of professional sailing, but the America's Cup was on that summer. And it really inspired me. I thought, that's pretty cool to see sailing on a global level. The Italians were there with the Moro di Venezia. And I remember watching it from afar with my little kids in their sabots saying, that'd be something really cool to be involved with. I mean, I wasn't a good enough sailor, not like you. I was definitely not destined for the Olympics, but
it was a passion.
It was a passion, and I loved it. I loved being on the water. I loved interacting. I loved being part of a sailing team. We sailed all over the country. That was amazing, and the friendships, still have some of those same friendships today that I made through sailing. So sailing really has been a huge part of my life. And then I moved to the UK. I was working for the Canadian High Commission, the embassy in London for a while. And then I said, how can I get back to sailing? And I went down to Cowes, actually. And it was the summer of the America's Cup Jubilee, the 150th anniversary of the America's Cup. And they had 200 boats coming from the J class right through to the International America's Cup class boats. And I thought, wow, this is something cool. Maybe I get involved. So I literally, and this is sort of maybe one of those things that, I would encourage young people to think about. I went and knocked on the door. It said America's Cup Jubilee office. I knocked on the door and said, hi, I'd like to volunteer. I'm really interested. And is there something I can do to help? And they said, well, actually, we have all these sponsors and don't really have anyone to manage them. Would you like to take it on? I'm like, okay. And I had some work experience and a degree, but I was like, well, I'll figure it out. And, there was Prada, there was Louis Vuitton, there was Hennessy. I mean, it was really amazing. Phillips Auction House and it really was probably, for me, looking back on it, a springboard into the industry, and met so many interesting people that I'd only seen on TV or heard about.
So from there, it was sailing industry from then on, or?
Pretty much. I suppose it really was. I worked on GBR Challenge, which was the America's Cup team, which was also Phil, our CEO, was an intern at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I was working in the marketing department. I reminded him of that when I re-interviewed for my job.
That you had interviewed him once upon a time.
No, he's like, you weren't you at challenge? Well, yes, I was working, and it was quite funny actually. Anyway, and then so I did that for a while. Then I moved to Italy actually to work with Swan with Ferragamo. It was owned by Leonardo Ferragamo, and I worked and managed the racing program and developed Club Swan. And then from there, though, that was where a really interesting opportunity came up to work on the Volvo Ocean Race with Paul Kayard. And I think that was really a turning point for us in sailing because Disney was getting involved in sailing. I remember thinking, if Disney's going to be a sponsor of a team, this is something I'd really like to be involved with, because I think it's going to take sailing from just the very, very small circle that we know to a mass appeal. So that was sort of the big leap.
Yeah, and then they made some movies, sailing movies. Disney did.
Well, they did after that, yeah.
And so often, for a while after those movies came out, people would ask me when I said I'm a sailor, they'd be like, "Oh, I saw this movie."
It was true.
Like, oh, I haven't seen it, but
like Wind and then those other ones like Adrift. Yeah. No, it was, but that was I think a bit of a game changer. We brought the Volvo 70 up the Thames and River in London, opened up Tower Bridge, had the premiere of Pirates of the Caribbean in Leicester Square with Johnny Depp was on board and Keira Knightley, Orlando Bloom, and it really was a pretty great way of starting to say, hey, sailing is it's cool. It's mainstream.
Yeah, and it's branching out of just its niche.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's still a niche sport, but it's like the growth is exciting to see those sprouting into people who aren't sailors and them getting excited about it. Yeah. Well, that's cool that happened through the vehicle of Disney. That's pretty wild.
Exactly. And I think it's going to keep growing.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're back. We're 2 regattas left and then on for another season. What are you looking forward to before we shut it down?
Well, it's definitely focus area 4 in the Impact League. We really want to win. I think that's going to be a highlight for us, and already starting to think about next season. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, it will. I'm stoked, and especially Halifax.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jen.
Thank you. Thanks, Tom.